Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got, by J. Abraham. Introduction. Imagine two men walking down a dark street in New York City. Both are mugged. The first mugger takes the man's wallet and his cash, $85, and disappears into the night. A simple, unfortunate transaction. But the second mugging is different. This mugger takes the man's wallet and his $70, but he also takes his watch and his old Princeton class ring. Neither the watch nor the ring has much street value, but to the man, they hold a world of memories. Ordinarily, that would be the end of the story. But 2 days later, as the man leaves his apartment, he hears his name called. He turns, and there, smiling, is the man who mugged him. The mugger isn't threatening at all. He asks a simple question: "Would you like your watch and your Princeton ring back?" Of course, the man says yes. They mean the world to him. The mugger offers to sell them back for $500. The man only has $90 on him. The mugger accepts the 90, but instead of handing over the items, he gives the man a receipt from a pawn shop. Later that day, the man goes to the pawn shop and pays another $80 to finally reclaim his treasured possessions. Now, let's look at the numbers. The first mugger made $85. The second mugger, however, made $70 from the mugging, another $60 from pawning the watch and ring, and a final $90 from selling the pawn ticket. His total? $220. Both men were in the same industry, on the same street, with the same type of customer. But one saw a simple transaction, while the other saw hidden assets, overlooked opportunities, and a way to create more value from the same situation. That simple, if unsettling story holds the key to everything we're going to talk about today. It's the core idea behind a truly remarkable book, Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got, written by a man often called America's one marketing wizard, J. Abraham. This isn't just a book about business. It's a guide to seeing the world differently. It's about uncovering the hidden potential that sits right in front of you, whether in your career, your business, or even your personal life. By the end of our time together, you will understand the simple, almost secret framework that separates the superachievers from everyone else. You will learn the 3, and only 3, ways any business on earth can grow, and you'll see how a tiny 10% improvement can lead to an explosive 33% increase in your results. You'll be armed with a new way of thinking that will help you outthink, outperform, and out-earn the competition in a way that is not only powerful, but deeply ethical and honorable. So, let's begin our journey and learn how you, too, can start getting everything you can out of all you've got. Book summary. Have you ever felt like you're working harder and harder, just to make small, incremental gains? That success is a slow, step-by-step climb up a very long ladder? Most of the world operates this way. We put in the hours, we follow the rules of our industry, and we hope to inch forward, little by little. But J. Abraham tells us that this path, the path of conventional, limited growth, is a trap. It's the pathway that keeps you working for your business, instead of getting your business to work for you. He challenges us to think differently. He wants us to stop thinking about small steps and start thinking about quantum leaps. What if you could skip several rungs on that ladder, moving rapidly and safely from where you are now to a level of success you thought was years away? This isn't a fantasy. It's the result of a specific mindset, a way of thinking that Jay calls creating breakthroughs. A breakthrough, in its simplest form, is finding a new, superior, more exciting way of doing something. And here's the secret. These breakthroughs rarely come from inside your own world. If you only study your own industry, you'll only know what everyone else already knows. You'll all use the same sales methods, the same advertising, the same strategies. You can't be a follower and expect to become a leader. The true breakthroughs happen when you borrow a success practice from one industry and apply it to another where it's never been seen before. Imagine a business strategy that's as common as dirt in one field having the effect of an atom bomb in yours. Think about Federal Express. Before them, overnight delivery wasn't guaranteed. But FedEx didn't invent a new concept out of thin air. They looked at the banking industry's method of clearing checks, where all checks go to a central hub before being sent out to their final destination. FedEx applied that hub and spoke concept to packages, making Memphis, Tennessee their central hub, and revolutionized an entire industry. Or consider the simple roll-on deodorant. For years, people struggled with messy applications. The solution didn't come from the world of cosmetics. It came from the world of writing. A man named George Thomas borrowed the concept of the ballpoint pen and created the roll-on applicator. Once you see the connection, it seems so obvious. The world is filled with these unmade connections. You are surrounded by simple, obvious solutions that can dramatically increase your income and success. The problem is, you just don't see them yet. This book is about teaching you how to see. But before you can start building, before you can create these breakthroughs, you need a foundation, a guiding philosophy. And this is perhaps the most powerful and profound idea in the entire book. It's a strategy Jay calls the strategy of preeminence. Think about the difference between two words, customer and client. A customer, according to the dictionary, is simply someone who purchases a commodity or service. It's a transaction. But a client is defined as someone who is under the protection of another. The difference is massive, and it changes everything. The strategy of preeminence is about shifting your entire focus from selling to protecting. It's about putting your client's needs so far ahead of your own that your success becomes a natural byproduct. It's about falling in love, not with your product or your company, but with your client. Jay tells a wonderful story to illustrate this. A man goes to a hardware store to buy a power drill. But does he really need a drill? No. What he truly needs are holes. He has a need for holes? Maybe to hang a picture his daughter painted, creating a memory. Maybe to build a shelf, creating order and peace in his home. The drill is just the tool. The holes are the end result. A salesperson sees a customer who wants a drill. A preeminent advisor sees a client who needs holes. The advisor's job isn't to sell the most expensive drill. It's to understand why the client needs the holes. To become a trusted guide who protects them from making a bad decision and leads them to the best possible outcome. Maybe a different tool would work better. Maybe a less expensive drill is all he needs. By protecting the client, you don't just make a sale. You make a friend for life. You become their trusted advisor, and they will never have a reason to go anywhere else. This philosophy is the soul of your business. It's the compass that guides every other strategy. Once you have this foundation of preeminence, you can begin to build the engine of your business. And that engine is powered by a beautifully simple formula. J. Abraham reveals that there are only 3 ways to increase any business on earth. Not 500, not 100, just 3. 1. Increase the number of clients. 2. Increase the average size of the sale per client. 3. Increase the number of times clients return and buy again. That's it. It's a simple lever. But watch what happens when you pull it. Let's say you have 1,000 clients who each spend an average of $100 with you, twice a year. That's an income of $200,000. Now, what if you could increase each of those 3 areas by just 10%? A mere 10% increase. You'd get 1,100 clients. They'd spend $110 per transaction. And they'd buy 2.2 times a year. Your income wouldn't just go up by 10%. It would jump to over $266,000. A tiny 10% improvement across the board results in a massive 33.1% expansion in your income. A 25% increase in each area nearly doubles it. This is the power of leverage. The rest of the book is a masterclass in how to pull each of these 3 levers, all grounded in the strategy of preeminence. So, how do you start? How do you get more clients to choose you in the first place? You have to answer the most important question in business. Why should someone do business with me instead of my competition? If you don't have a clear, compelling answer, then you're just one of many, relying on luck. The answer to that question is your unique selling proposition, or USP. It's that distinct, appealing idea that sets you apart from every other Me Too competitor. When Domino's Pizza started, they didn't just sell pizza. They made a powerful promise: hot, delicious pizza, delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's yours absolutely free. At a time when pizza delivery was unreliable, that promise was a game changer. It was their USP. When Avis was a distant number 2 to Hertz in the car rental business, they didn't hide it. They embraced it. Their USP became, we're number 2. We try harder. It was a brilliant way of positioning themselves as the company that would give better service because they had to. Your USP is the reason people should listen to you. But even with a great USP, people are hesitant. They're afraid of making a mistake. The biggest obstacle to any sale, to any decision, is risk. So, what do? You eliminate it completely. This is the strategy of risk reversal. You take all the risk of the transaction onto your own shoulders. Jay tells a story of a farmer wanting to buy a pony for his daughter. 2 were for sale. The first seller offered his pony for $500, take it or leave it. The second seller's pony was more expensive, at $750. But his offer was entirely different. He told the farmer, "Let your daughter try the pony for a month. I'll bring it to your home, along with a month's worth of hay. I'll even send my stableman out once a week to show her how to care for it. At the end of 30 days, if you're not completely happy, I'll come take the pony back and clean the stall myself. Only then, if you decide to keep it, will you pay me?" Which pony do you think the farmer bought? It was no contest. The second seller removed every ounce of risk from the decision. You probably already stand behind your product or service. But do you shout it from the rooftops? Do you make it the heart of your message? When you guarantee a specific, desirable outcome for your client, or their money back, you make it almost impossible for them to say no. And you can even take it a step further with what Jay calls a better-than-risk-free guarantee. This is where you not only promise their money back if they're dissatisfied, but you offer them an additional reward for their time and faith in trying you out. Maybe they get to keep a bonus gift, or maybe you offer double their money back. This level of confidence in what you offer is so powerful, it practically compels people to give you a try. Now, you might be thinking, what if I can't afford to make these kinds of offers? And that brings us to another critical concept: understanding the lifetime value of a client. Most businesses are obsessed with making a profit on the very first sale. But the smartest businesses understand that the real profit comes from all the repeat purchases a client makes over months, years, or even decades. Think about the book or music clubs that offer you 12 CDs for a penny. Do you think they're losing money? Not at all. They know that a certain percentage of people who take that initial offer will continue buying at full price for years to come. They are willing to break even, or even take a small loss on the first transaction, because they know the massive combined profits that will come from the back end. Once you calculate what an average client is truly worth to you over the entire life of your relationship, you realize you can afford to invest far more to acquire that client in the first place. You can afford to offer incredible risk reversal guarantees or break-even first sales because you're playing the long game. Now we have a preeminent philosophy. We have a unique reason for people to choose us. We've removed all the risk. And we understand that the real money is in the long-term relationship. What's next? We focus on the second lever, increasing the average size of the sale. This is where you, as the trusted advisor, help your client get an even better end result. These are what we call add-ons and cross-sells. When you buy a car, do you just buy the base model? Or does the dealer, your trusted advisor in this transaction, offer you a better stereo, a security system, or an extended warranty? They're not just trying to make more money. They're helping you build the total transportation package that will give you the most joy and peace of mind, the end result you truly desire. A classic example comes from the Great Depression. The Kraft Company was trying to sell a cheddar cheese powder, but nobody was buying it. It was a failure. Then, one salesman in St. Louis had an idea. He started adding individual packets of the cheese powder to boxes of macaroni and offered grocers the chance to sell them as a single item. Kraft dinners. It was an instant hit. The company saw how well they sold and made it an official product. The add-on created a better, more complete meal solution for the customer. By understanding what your client is truly trying to accomplish, you have an obligation to introduce them to all the options that could give them a better outcome. So you've built this incredible engine. But how do you know if it's running at peak performance? How do you know that your USP is the most powerful one? Or that your risk reversal offer is the most compelling? Or that your price is the most profitable? You don't guess. You test. You test everything. Henry Ford, the man who became America's first billionaire, had a peculiar hiring practice. Before he would hire anyone for an important position, he would have lunch with them. If the person salted their food before tasting it, Ford would not hire them. Why? Because it showed they were willing to implement a plan before testing it. It's not unusual for one approach to outperform another by 10 or even 20 times. The sales pitch you're currently using might be delivering only a fraction of the results an alternative approach could yield. Without testing, you are leaving massive potential on the table. This is where the new world of the internet makes Jay's timeless advice even more powerful. Online, you can test different headlines, different offers, and different prices with scientific precision, using tools like Google's Website Optimizer. This is called split testing, where you show one version of your web page to half your visitors and another version to the other half, and see which one performs better. The smartest internet marketers know that testing is the holy grail. It's like giving yourself a pay raise every single week. All of these strategies, preeminence, USP, risk reversal, lifetime value, add-ons, and testing, are about maximizing what you already have. But Jay Abraham doesn't stop there. The second half of the book is about something even more exciting: multiplying your maximum. It's about creating multiple sources of income and growth so you're never dependent on just one. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through what he calls host-beneficiary relationships. Why spend all your own time, money, and effort to find new clients from scratch, when you can tap into the trust and goodwill that other companies have already spent millions of dollars building? The idea is simple. Find a non-competing business that already sells to the exact clients you want to reach. Their product either comes before, goes along with, or follows the product you sell. For example, if you're a real estate agent, who else serves your client? Carpet cleaners, moving companies, interior decorators. You approach that host business and make them an offer they can't refuse. Let them endorse your service to their clients, and you'll share a generous portion of the profits. Sears and Roebuck made hundreds of millions of dollars by promoting Allstate Insurance in their stores. Fast food chains like McDonald's team up with movie studios like Disney to promote the latest film. It's a perfect win-win. The host business creates a new profit center with zero effort or risk, and you, the beneficiary, get a warm introduction to a pre-sold audience. Another way to multiply your reach is by creating a formal referral system. You probably already get some business from word of mouth, but do you have a systematic process for generating it? The mindset shift here is crucial. When you truly believe in the value you provide, you realize you have a moral obligation to serve the people your clients care about. You're not asking for a favor, you're extending an opportunity. You make it a standard part of your process to ask every happy client, who else do you know that could benefit from the same positive result? You make it easy for them, and you make the offer to their friends completely risk-free. And what about the clients you've already lost? The ones who stopped buying for one reason or another? These are your prodigal clients. It costs almost nothing to try and win back an old client, but a fortune to acquire a new one. Research shows that most clients don't leave because of a major, irreparable problem. They leave because of indifference, or because they simply got out of the habit of buying from you. Reaching out to them with genuine concern? We haven't heard from you in a while, and we were worried. Is everything okay? Have we done something wrong? Can be incredibly powerful. This humble, client-focused approach can reignite the relationship and turn a lost client into one of your most loyal advocates. And finally, in our modern age, many of these multiplication strategies are supercharged by technology. In the original book, Jay dedicates a chapter to direct mail, calling it your 10,000-person sales department. Today, that concept is amplified 1,000 times over through email marketing and pay-per-click advertising. The principles are exactly the same. The goal of a website shouldn't just be to make an immediate sale. The smartest online businesses use their websites for lead generation. They offer something of immense value for free, a special report, an educational video, in exchange for a visitor's name and email address. This is the online equivalent of building trust. Once you have that permission, you can use automated email sequences, or autoresponders, to build a relationship over time, delivering value and earning their trust until they are ready to buy. You can use pay-per-click ads on Google to find your starving crowd. People who are right now actively searching for exactly what you offer. Instead of chasing customers, they come to you. It's the ultimate form of attraction marketing. And just as with everything else, you test your ads, you test your keywords, you test your landing pages, constantly refining your approach to get better and better results. From a foundational philosophy of serving others to a tactical playbook for exponential growth, J. Abraham provides a complete system for seeing and seizing the opportunities that others miss. It all comes back to that simple story of the two muggers. One saw a transaction, the other saw potential. The question this book leaves us with is, which one will you be? Commentary. As we wrap up our journey through getting everything you can out of all you've got, it's worth pausing to reflect on the core message. On the surface, this is a book filled with brilliant business strategies, USPs, risk reversal, host-beneficiary relationships. And if you only apply these as tactics, you will undoubtedly see an improvement in your results. But to do so would be to miss the very soul of this book. The true genius of J. Abraham's work isn't in the tactics themselves, but in the philosophical foundation upon which they are built, the strategy of preeminence. This idea, that your primary role is not to sell, but to protect and advise your client, is a profound shift in perspective. It transforms business from a series of transactions into a series of relationships. It elevates your work from a job to a calling. When you genuinely fall in love with your clients and dedicate yourself to their best interests, the other strategies stop being clever tricks and become natural extensions of your desire to serve. Risk reversal isn't a gimmick. It's a sincere expression of your confidence and your commitment to your client's satisfaction. Add-ons aren't about upselling. They're about ensuring your client achieves the best possible end result. Referrals aren't about getting leads. They're about your moral obligation to help the people your clients care about. In a world that often feels cynical and transactional, this approach is not just refreshing, it's a massive competitive advantage. People are starved for genuine connection and trust. When they find someone who truly has their back, who acts as their champion and trusted advisor, they become fiercely loyal. They become your unpaid sales force, your greatest advocates, and your friends for life. The beauty of these principles is their universal applicability. It doesn't matter if you're a 17-year-old with a summer lawn mowing business, an aspiring entrepreneur with a new app, or the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. The levers of growth are always the same. So, how can you start applying these ideas today? Here are a few simple actions. First, identify your own 3 ways to grow. Think about your current endeavor, whatever it may be. How could you find one new client? How could you increase the value of what you do for them? And how could you get them to come back or work with you again? Just thinking in this framework will open your eyes to new possibilities. Second, practice the strategy of preeminence in a small way. The next time you help someone, a customer, a classmate, a family member, consciously shift your focus from your own goal to theirs. Ask more questions. Listen more deeply. Try to understand the whole they need, not just the drill they're asking for. See how it changes the interaction. And third, find one small thing you can test. It doesn't have to be a big, complicated experiment. If you're sending out emails, try 2 different subject lines. If you're making a presentation, try 2 different opening lines. The goal is simply to get into the habit of questioning your assumptions and letting real-world results be your guide. That was a summary of Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got by J. Abraham. We've explored the core philosophies and strategies today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real treasure is found on the journey of reading the book yourself. It's in those quiet moments when a particular story or a simple turn of phrase connects with you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is designed to help you decide if this book is worth your time and attention. If anything we've talked about has sparked a sense of possibility within you, I wholeheartedly encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning tactics, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see the hidden potential in your world and in yourself. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this journey valuable, please take a moment to click that like button and subscribe to Billionaire's Bookshelf. That way, you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's continue this journey of growth together.